Her Royal Highness the Princess Margaret recalls her memories of the Second World War.
Your Royal Highness, as we turn back the clock to the end of the Second World War 50 years ago, what's your abiding memory of VE Day? What sticks in the mind?
Well, I think all the wonderful crowds who came and yelled, "We want the King." And of course in the evening it was a sort of culmination of the whole excitement of the end of the war.
How aware were you then, as a teenager, that history was being made? Did it occur to you at the time?
And I think it was just a terrific relief. You know, all this horror was over.
Well, I've got something to show you here, which I know will bring back a few memories. There are the crowds that you referred to. Quite extraordinary.
Isn't that extraordinary?
And of course,
they formed up all during the day, when they're waiting till 3 o'clock until Sir Winston did the broadcast.
Hostilities will end officially at 1 minute after midnight tonight, Tuesday, the 8th of May. But
they put up the loudspeakers at Buckingham Palace so that the crowd could hear Winston's speech.
The German war is therefore at an end.
The crowds cheered themselves hoarse. 7 times during VE Day, the rally appeared on the balcony.
The thing that I remember, there were people who came and said, I think there's another huge crowd shouting, "We want the King." And when it was sort of full up with a lot of new people, we'd go along again. I think it was sort of every hour.
There's a very good picture of you. Do you remember the colour? It's a black and white picture, but do you remember the colour?
Oh, that was when Winston joined us on the balcony, yes. Oh, very well. I remember him looking round for an ashtray to put his cigar down in, because he was, you know, beautiful manners, didn't want to come out with a cigar.
So how did you look upon him?
Oh, just, you know, the hero of the hour. You know, he was the man who won the war, so to speak.
Do you remember what people were saying on the balcony here? Do you remember what Winston Churchill was saying?
Oh, nobody said anything.
You couldn't hear
each other? I couldn't hear. I mean, the noise was something terrific. And what was very exciting was when the floodlighting came on, because it was the complete antithesis to the blackout. And you can't imagine how awful the blackout had been. Everything was dark and everything was, you know, gloomy and everything. Suddenly, the lights came on and lit up the poor old battle-scarred palace. And my mother was wearing a white dress with a tiara, I think, and it all sparkled. And there was a great roar, you know, from the crowd. It was terribly exciting.
Whose idea was it to actually go out into the crowd?
I think it was my parents. I can't quite remember, really.
You didn't feel vulnerable in any way, did you?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Everybody's very happy.
Did you get dressed up especially for it? Was it almost like going to a party?
Well, the great thing was not to be recognised, so we were all dressed down. And everybody was in uniform. Anybody who wasn't in uniform looked out of place. I wasn't allowed to join the army because I was too young. And services, I should say. And so I was rather sort of kept at the back.
And did you feel very jealous of that or resentful?
Frightfully annoyed, yes. I couldn't understand why the armed services didn't want the services of a girl of 12. Annoyed me very much.
So you made this known, did you?
Oh, yes. Ballet did.
What did they do? Did they laugh at
Yes,
you?
of course.
Yeah. Now, you went out with your uncle, David Bowes-Lyon.
Yes.
And you had a rather amusing brush with the law.
Yes, well, he was quite naughty and tipped their helmets over.
And what did they say?
Oh, well, he rushed round in time to catch it, you see, and give it back to them.
Did it happen more than once?
No, no. I think he got away with it that time.
Were you out more than one evening?
Yes, because there was VE night +1, and then there was VJ and VJ +1. So we got quite good at it in the end. The crowd was always shouting, "We want the king, we want the king." And my mother's brother David kept on saying, "And the queen."
Oh, nice
we
touch.
we got some of the crowd to join us and saying, "We want the king and the queen." And we waited and waited and waited and shouted and shouted and shouted, and then we thought we were waiting such a long time. We sent somebody in and said, "We're outside. Could you come out on the balcony?" And they did.
Very
It was
good.
great excitement. I don't think I'll ever forget it as long as I live.
The women of Britain stand with the men. Her Majesty the Queen brings a lesson to us all, as leaving her children in Scotland, she returns to London, and we are glad to see her.
You're quoted as a child in one book as being outraged that Hitler had interrupted a family holiday. Can you remember that? Your parents had to rush back from Balmoral.
Yes.
Do you remember that very vividly?
No, but I remember being left there because, of course, they never knew whether the Nazis weren't going to come over and bomb us to pieces at once, you know. So we were left up there.
Did you enjoy it up there? Was it?
Wonderful, yes. It's a very good excuse to stay up there a bit longer.
As is the case with children in so many families these days, the princesses are separated from their parents except for occasional reunions. But just as Mary and Jack Citizen revel in new surroundings somewhere in England, so we find the Princess Elizabeth and her sister Margaret, accompanied by their governesses, enjoying a short trip upriver starting from Bolter's Lock.
You were, in fact, 9 years old when the war started, nearly 15 when it ended. Very much formative years. When it was all over, your father actually said, "Poor darlings, they've never actually had any fun." Did it seem like that at the time?
No, I didn't think so, because they were very good at making it all fun, you know, these wonderful parents of ours.
The Queen walks with Mr. Robert Hyde and the King with the camp leader, Captain J.G. Patterson, at the famous holiday camp for industrial workers and public schoolboys, which this year takes a new name and a new home. It is now the King's Camp. And has moved
Lovely picture of my father, isn't it?
Now, do you remember that day?
Oh, yes.
Did you learn to do that under the spreading chestnut tree and that sort of thing, or were you just a little on the young side to pick it up?
Oh, no, because, you see, we'd been brownies and guides and things, and they do that sort of thing.
The royal family set off from Sandringham House to inspect the splendid crops being harvested on the King's estate in Norfolk. A governor's cart and 3 bicycles are used to travel around the many hundreds of acres of Sandringham Park, now growing food for the nation.
Yours was a very close family, and then suddenly the King and Queen had to spend more and more time in London, near the seat of power. Did you appreciate the sacrifice that they had to be away from you during the day? You didn't actually see them. They had to go off.
Well, no, I don't think so. We were busy doing our lessons, and they were busy doing their work. I mean, if we'd been at school, we wouldn't have seen them. So we were very lucky we saw them. Well, when London was being bombed, they used to come back because of the bombing. And, but then after that, they stayed in London, only came back for weekends.
Did you listen to your father's broadcasts during the war? What sort of impact did they have on you as you heard him coming out of the radio?
Oh, extraordinary. He was very... he had a little stammer, you know, and to make a speech was always a worry to him, and he used to conquer this by breathing exercises and things like that. So one felt very much for him all the way through it. And it was a worry when you made a speech, you know. One had vicarious nerves for him.
We feel in our hearts that we are fighting against a wickedness, and this conviction will give us a strength from day to day to persevere until victory is assured.
Your parents. Loved by the East Enders, of course. There must have been a family atmosphere there.
Yes, they're wonderful people.
What were the qualities they were showing at this time?
It's difficult to define. I mean, they were just being themselves, really. Trying to comfort people who'd lost everything, you know. Not an easy thing to do.
Buckingham Palace was bombed.
Yes, several times.
Once, I think, when your parents were actually...
Yes, well, the man made a dead set kill the king. And I think he got double uncrossed for it.
Latest outrage of the Nazis' indiscriminate fury is the bombing of Buckingham Palace. While missiles were raining down on London, as they've already rained upon many other of our towns, a time bomb fell only a few feet from the wall of the palace at the back. The King and Queen, who were absent when it exploded, soon returned to the spot and examined the damage, which was fairly heavy. The swimming pool
came in
was
under the
smashed,
radar,
masonry had been hurled
came down the Mall. I had to go right and left round the Victoria Memorial, so the bombs went sort of crooked, and luckily they weren't killed. It killed the gatekeeper, which they said, on the right-hand side, and then it hit the chapel and the swimming pool and the middle of the quadrangle, and mercifully missed the king, so, you know, it was a bit of luck.
Windsor Castle was your home for most of the war. What do you remember of the atmosphere there?
Windsor Castle came into its own as a marvellous fortress. If you go to Windsor now, it's got beautiful things in it, sparkling and wonderful pictures. And of course there wasn't anything in it. It was completely stripped, and things were sent away, and things had their, you know, were turned round, like, you know, flying glass. Everything was turned round the other way.
And I seem to remember that you made use of the picture frames.
Yes, the picture frames that my father thought looked a little sad in this room. There's nothing in them except bare boards. And so a local student did some drawings of all the fairy stories.
Are they
They're still there.
Yeah.
Yes. They come out once a year.
Germany's indiscriminate bombing methods run riot in the use of her latest terror weapon, the flying bomb. Anti-aircraft guns figure largely in their destruction. A Spitfire pilot gets in a successful burst.
Obviously, the atmosphere did actually change.
Yes, not so much family, but the environment changed so frightfully with this dark. This blackout thing was just more than a blackout curtain. It was things on the window to stop the glass flying about, and you know what I mean, and wire cages all over.
London under the flying bomb. Battle of Britain conditions return in the form of robot warfare on the capital. London's wartime calendar of experience may be set back 4 years, but the people adjust themselves to the frontline peril and carry on.
Did you recall very many sleepless nights, the aeroplanes coming over?
Yes, terrible. Windsor being on the way back from bombing London. Of course, they dropped all their bombs on the park. So we were bombed practically every time.
Anywhere near London, you may need to take cover from a stray flying bomb. And so a camp for Sea Rangers and Girl Guides naturally makes it part of the drill. Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret Rose were here. But nobody shows signs of the terror that Dr. Goebbels would like to see.
So every time a doodlebug came, we had to go into these awful trenches.
Are all part of the fun. Somehow it seems fun when you do it in a camp, whereas at home it's just a stupendous bore.
In the end, we had to go down and sleep in the shelter for a year and a half.
I read that we were falling asleep during your lessons because you weren't getting enough sleep.
It was dreadful because, well, you know, what happened to everybody, I think, who'd been in the shelter. You didn't sleep much.
You mentioned the doodlebugs. I think one landed fairly near
awful.
you. This is the V1, yes?
Yes, it hit the hill with the copper horse on it, which was about 3 miles away.
How well do you actually remember that experience?
Oh, very well indeed. I was sitting with my mother, who was talking to Lady Alexander, and it was a noise of a terrible explosion, very, very loud, and we all jumped like that, you know, and we all went pink, not white. We all blushed. It was, you know, it was such a shock.
Did the question ever arise about possible evacuation to America or anywhere else for that matter?
I think it was put to my parents, but it was turned down. My mother said something like my father wouldn't go and therefore she wouldn't go and we couldn't go. I don't know, it was something like that. But I don't remember ever thinking we'd have to go. Some of our cousins went, and of course when they came back after the war, we couldn't understand each other because they couldn't think about what we'd been doing, being bombed and everything, and we couldn't understand why they hadn't been.
Like the whole Dominion, Canada's famous five have an important radio rendezvous. It's the first broadcast of their future queen, and the Dion Quins are quite excited as they gather round their radio set. Shh, everybody, says Yvonne, as they eagerly await the voice of Princess Elizabeth.
All of us children who are still at home think continually of our friends and relations who have gone overseas, who have traveled thousands of miles to find a wartime home and a kindly welcome in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and the United States of America. I know you won't forget us. It is just because we are not forgetting you that I want, on behalf of all the children at home, to send you our love and best wishes. My sister is by my side, and we are both going to say good night to you. Come on, Margaret. Good night, children. Good night, and good luck to you all.
And a round of applause.
Yes.
Very good. That was the very first time I think you had ever been heard on the radio. Were you very nervous?
I think I was nervous at coming in at the right moment. When she said, "Come on, Margaret," of course, anyone couldn't get it wrong.
Was your sister very nervous?
I don't think so.
And did you rely on your sister very much at that time?
Very much, yes.
Yes. In what way?
Well, I mean, anything she said went.
Your sister, I know, was very good at maintaining vehicles.
Yes, she
Wasn't
was
she
a
trained?
fanny, and she was taught how to drive.
Taking a driving course at a training centre is Princess Elizabeth, 2nd Subaltern, ATS. She has been learning to drive and maintain all types of motor vehicles. When the training centre was visited by the King and Queen and Princess Margaret, they found Princess Elizabeth in overalls working on the engine of a Red Cross lorry.
I used to go and watch her doing it. I learned quite a lot about the inside of an engine.
Did she teach you about driving or...
Yes, she taught me how to drive. Everybody said it was a disaster because we'd have a row. We never did. She was very patient.
How long did it take you to drive?
To learn how to drive?
Yeah.
Well, I spent a week or two.
Well, that's very good going. She must have been a good teacher.
She was.
Were you proud of her?
Very. Oh, yes.
For the first time in 4 bitter years, Paris indulges in an almost forgotten emotion, the experience of happiness. The city of light and gaiety has been rid of its long term of darkness. Long live Paris.
D-Day, the North African campaign, the liberation of Paris, all came within the space of 18 months or so. Do you recall thinking then that at last the end was over?
Yes, but I could feel that things were on the up and up, you know. And then it got to the last day of the war, which was a terrible fizzle, because we waited and waited and waited and waited, and nobody quite knew whether the war was over or not, because the message didn't arrive, or nobody was quite certain, and we waited about all that day. It was awful.
Britons, impatient for the official signal to celebrate, jumped the starting gun on Monday night, when notice of capitulation waited upon Whitehall, Washington, and Moscow.
Well, they also were, you know, waiting to kind of tear down the blackout and burn it, but weren't quite certain whether to do it. And it was only when it was announced that people could actually say hooray, and that was when it all came to life at Buckingham Palace.
6 long years, and all-embracing jubilation rings out in the victory peal from St. Paul's.
We may allow ourselves a brief period of rejoicing. Today is Victory in Europe Day.
The funny thing was, you know, I know there was a picture there of a man tottering along waving a flag, but we never saw anybody drunk.
That's quite extraordinary.
Wasn't it? That's, for one thing, because there was very little liquor, and at the end of the war.
Perhaps they were drunk with emotion.
But everybody was drunk with happiness, quite right.
Had there been times prior to that when you wondered if peace would ever come, if the German army might actually one day march on the streets of London? Had it occurred to you?
Oh, no. Mind you, he got awfully close when he got, in 1940, when he got to Holland. But then, mercifully, he was deflected.
It was never talked about?
Never. No.
Which British characteristics pulled us through, do you think?
Just grit. Grin and bear it and get on with it. It was a very odd thing that there weren't any politics, you see, in the years I was brought up. Because there was a national government and everybody was siphoning their energies into beating Hitler. Well, Hitler was at the end of the tunnel, and beating Hitler was what we were all trying to do.
It was this true grit that pulled them through.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, people went off and made munitions and, you know, weren't going to be beaten.
We all pulled in the same direction and succeeded. Yes. Do you think the youth of today can comprehend what their forefathers went through?
No, I don't think one ever can. I remember being told about the First World War when I was quite a small girl, and it meant nothing to one at all. And it wasn't until one was in the war that it made sense what it was like to be bombed.
So was it a fairly normal life, do you think, growing up during the war?
No, I don't think so. Because there was all this, one grew up pretty quickly, you know, a lot of people got killed that one knew, and as I say, everything was so fraught, you know, and everything was loud and black and gloomy, and that's why, of course, this V-Day was sort of wonderful, sort of you know, sunburst of glory.
Thank you, ma'am, very much indeed for your time.
Not at all.
Thank
It's been
you.
lovely talking about it.